Oh, you know what? Oh, shit. Hold on a second. Welcome to FBB Forum. If you like this content, please be sure to like and subscribe to both YouTube and Instagram. I'm very pleased to welcome the stunning IFBB Pro women's physique and figure competitor, Eleni Polites. Is that right?
Perfect.
Okay, cool. um, uh, Eleni just got her double pro card at the NPC Nationals in both figure and women's physique, and has been competing since 2018. And you won Class B, is that correct?
So I won Class A for women's physique, and then I got second place in figure in Class B.
Oh, very cool. That's awesome. I bet that was thrilling to get your double pro card.
Yeah, and I mean the talent in both divisions was just absolutely insane, but especially the depth in figure this year. Rachel Kelly, who beat me out in my class, I mean, she just looked phenomenal. Like, I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous the level of competition. When we did the photo shoot the next day, TM Mannon actually said like this was the most competitive nationals in the past 10 years easily. So it was really cool to be a part of that.
I bet. I was thinking that too. I wonder if it was kind of getting a little further past COVID times, maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that really helped because I know that waylaid a lot of competitors that might otherwise have competed.
Oh, for sure. I would totally agree with that statement.
Yeah. Well, I was curious, in terms of getting started in bodybuilding, did you have an athletic or sports background before you started?
Yeah, I've been playing sports, I mean, since I could walk. I was a competitive figure skater for about 14 years. So I just have all this mature muscle mass, especially in my lower body. And then I was a Division I college softball player. So between having the exposure from figure skating and softball, I've been doing lifting of some degree or some sort of exercise since I was like 4.
Wow.
And I once I got to college, when you're a part of a Division I program, you have access to some of the best strength and conditioning coaches in the country.
Yeah.
So very structured workouts for 4 years. And even in high school, my high school coaches, I was really lucky. They both played ball, so I had very knowledgeable coaches even then. So I was hitting the weights hard at freshman in high school. I've just it's lifting and fitness has just been my life.
Which team did you play for college? For
Um, I
softball?
played I played at University of Illinois at Chicago.
Oh, wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, it was a cool experience. I mean, our backdrop for our field was like the skyline. So I played outfield. So we'd be shagging fly balls and like I just look behind me and the skyline's there. Be like, guys, do you see that? Like this is so cool.
That's so awesome. Did you get
Yeah.
some like old ESPN exposure or anything like that from
Yeah,
being?
we actually more so my senior year I noticed we got a lot of ESPN exposure. Our coach structured our preseason to play really like the top teams in the country before going into conference. So like when we would play like Arizona State and other big programs, they would televise that. Obviously, we would get kind of pummeled because it's top 10 Division I countries in the or Division I teams in the country. So, but once we got into conference and like conference tournament, they would definitely televise a lot of it. So it was really cool to have some ESPN exposure. I actually made ESPN top 10 one time in one of the plays when we were playing University of Central Florida. So just all these cool memories from my time playing college ball.
That's so awesome. Wow. One of my coworkers, her daughter was a top UCF pitcher, and
Oh, nice.
yeah, she got a fair amount of TV coverage because of that, and it was really exciting to see her play on TV.
Yeah, softball is just like a different watching softball on TV, just watching softball in general versus baseball. It's just so different. I'm obviously Chicago. I'm a huge Cubs fan. I love going to baseball games, but watching it on TV is like background noise where like softball, like it's so fast paced, it's just easy to engage in.
It is, yeah, it's exciting. Yeah, with the fast pitch softball pitch like that, it's really cool to watch, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Now, how did you get started in bodybuilding and who convinced you to do your first contest?
So I was going through a lot of post athlete depression once I was done with college ball. I don't think a lot of people talk about it enough because, as top tier collegiate athletes, we're kind of taught to suppress and focus on the technical over the emotional.
Mhm.
But I really struggled. I mean, you're done with your sport, you played your whole life, and they're like, all right, and deuces. It's not really, it's never been established on how to transition these athletes out.
Mhm.
So I struggled. I went on to do my master's and go on to occupational therapy school. And I was previously a personal trainer between my undergrad and my graduate studies. And one of my friends was like, dude, you should totally do a prep. Like you should compete. You already have a natural frame, like you have all this muscle mass. So I did like a 10-week prep for a show locally, and I won overall, and I got the competition bug, and here we are.
That's terrific. Yeah, that's a good point too. With softball, you don't necessarily get to continue with pros like maybe like baseball and stuff, you know.
There is professional ball for softball, and it's getting better pay wise. But when I graduated in 2015, I mean, you're starting out making like $4,000 a summer, and then they pay for your housing. So a lot of these girls, what they do is if they're playing professional ball, they're college coaches, or they're giving hitting lessons, or they're doing something else to supplement income.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's what the UCF softball coach, that's what she does full time, I think,
Yeah,
is coaching.
yeah.
So yeah, there's quite a few opportunities there, but
Mhm.
but now you're in a sport where it's like a deficit on money because it's expensive and
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely a deficit. But again, and I think that's the biggest thing is like before I agreed with prep, even this year, like all my finances, I wanted everything in order. I think on the outside looking in, there's this popular opinion that, once you make it pro, you're making buku bucks, or even like as an amateur, like nationally qualified competitor, you're making money. And it's like, no, a
Mm-mm.
lot of these girls and a lot of these guys have a separate career. So yeah, you need to make sure you're financially sound before you do this.
Yeah, I wish there was more prize money for the ladies too. Y'all don't really get much prize
Yeah,
money.
you look at the disparities in like the Olympia, for example, and I mean, it comes down to it, just like baseball and softball with the exposure. The baseball players get more exposure, and it's more popular to watch baseball than softball. Same
Mhm.
thing with men's bodybuilding versus women's bodybuilding. It's just more popular, so you're gonna fund what people are wanting to watch.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's a disparity between men and women, but I just think it's that men's bodybuilding is more popular, so they get a little bit of a better payout.
That's true. Yeah, you're right. And better sponsorships probably too and such.
Most likely.
Yeah. Now I was curious, do you have a fitness or bodybuilding role model?
So my mentors from when I was a personal trainer, Chad and Angie Hugo, they were the ones that kind of pushed me into competing. And I look up to them. But if I'm looking at it like a professional bodybuilder, I kind of want to emulate. Long story short, and we'll get into the drama of me throwing myself into women's physique, but really Brooke Walker is someone right now I've been closely watching since nationals, and like I feel like with my shorter frame, I kind of fall within her parameters. And then my coach, Justin Jacoby, he's a huge role model to me because he's not only an excellent competitor, he finished top 5 at the Texas Pro in 212 with some impressive guys in that class. But he also is just an all-star of a coach. Like, he's stepping on stage. I check in on Fridays. He's stepping on stage in like an hour, and he's responding to my check-ins.
Wow.
Like it's just the high standard he holds himself to. I love it, and I look up to him so much.
I have spoken to several of his athletes, and yeah, he does seem like an excellent coach. And
He's wonderful. He's a good guy, and he's a good coach, and he's an amazing competitor. So he's just got that trifecta going.
how long have you worked with him?
So I've been working with him since late March, and it's just been super, super great. When everyone kind of comes up and asks, they're like, they're considering changing coaches, and they ask me stuff. And the first thing I always tell him, he has so many athletes, and he makes me feel like I'm the only athlete. I mean, he had 6 competitors at nationals competing.
Wow.
And like I said, I felt like I was the only athlete. So he's just really attentive. He pays attention to detail. And he's passionate and compassionate, but he's also firm. So, we all understand what he expects out of us. But he does have a heart. So,
Nice.
so it's nice having someone like that in your corner.
I was curious, did he talk you into doing women's physique kind of last minute? He's like, well, you should probably try this.
So we were doing our last pump workout on Wednesday, obviously going to step on stage on Friday. And my personality, like when I work hard, but I love having fun. And I was just being silly and like, I was nice and pumped. So I hit like a side chest and he's like, do it again. And he's just looking at me. And then I go into his hotel to check in on Thursday morning and he's like, we should do women's physique. And I am a planner. I like to know what's going on. I want to have everything down to a T. I need to be prepared. So of course I'm like, no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Like I look at my girlfriend and my girlfriend's smiling. And so we go back to the hotel room. I do a little bit of research, left-sided brain analytical. I look at Brooke Walker. I watch kind of how the Olympia went with the quarter turns. And I'm like, okay, I think I could do this. I call him and I'm like, hey, you know what? Let's do it. Why not? He's like, no, let's focus on figure. We came here for figure. I want you to be focused. I called my posing coach, Kristina Mendoza, explained the situation to her. She's like, all right, let's run through a few poses. And literally within 18 hours of me stepping on stage, 15 minutes with her, she taught me everything I needed to know. And
Wow.
I sent my coach check-ins later that day with the women's physique poses. I was like, we're in Texas. Like, I'm a competitor. I'm an athlete. Like, I want to go for it. Like, give me this challenge. I'm going to rise to it.
Yeah.
I think I was his first double pro card. So I wanted to give that to him too. I was like, let me give you this double pro card. I got this. I can do this.
That's awesome.
So convinced him. And it was just one of those things where I'm like, no heels and the poses. And it was just, you could totally tell, like, I just lit up on stage. I mean, I love figure, but I was just definitely more authentically myself and relaxed in women's physique, despite, 18 hours of preparation.
I was thinking you had good flow on stage, and maybe from your figure skating background too. That probably helped.
Yeah, and that's what I'm really excited about, this showmanship opportunity with my figure skating background, because I can really show the judges now like a little bit of me and put a little bit of a figure skating flair into this. I have a really big personality, so again, never gonna knock figure. I love figure, but the quarter turn, and it's just not me. Like it's so weird. Like I went on stage women's physique. I'm like, this is totally me.
Yeah, that's terrific. I personally, as a fan, I like it better because you get to do the posing routine and you get to do the flex. So it's like more creativity, I think, than figure.
Absolutely. The music stuff, the music is going to be a little wonky to try to choose for me. When I was backstage and obviously I didn't have any music, I told the guys, I'm like, just surprise me, throw on whatever you want. And he's like, no, you don't want me to do that. I'm going to dog you if I do that. So I was like, all right, put something on that's not super slow or like hardcore, like just something that's like popular that I can just flow to. So yeah, it was a fun experience. And the camaraderie with figure is great, and women's physique, it was just as great. So it was just really awesome to meet some new women's physique sisters, on top of the figure sisters that I already have.
What song did they end up doing? I can't remember.
Oh my God, it's a super popular song. Like it's like a pop not EDM-y, but I don't remember what it was.
Oh no, that's cool.
Like that. But I remember hearing it. I was like, okay, this is perfect. Like this works. This is fine.
Wow, that's crazy. So you didn't even know your song in advance. That'd be tough. But I bet having that figure skating background helped that,
Oh, totally improv. And then I thought, because in the prejudging, you're doing an individual for like 30 seconds. So that's fine.
Yeah.
And the girl behind me is like, yeah, 70 seconds. I'm like, wait, what? 70 seconds? What am I going to do for 70 seconds?
Oh, that way you could run through, your favorite poses, make those hold.
Yeah, I just try to hold things like a, 8 to 10 count, and then make my transitions really smooth and just go for it.
That's pretty cool. That's amazing that you pulled it off so well.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be my home for sure.
That's terrific. I was going to ask you that. So prior from 2018 till now, had you just done figure, or had you done other divisions?
No, it's just always been figure. Like I said, with my athletic background, and genetics too. I'm 100% Greek, and those Spartan shoulders. So I've always had more developed shoulders. And then I had really developed legs from all the figure skating. I remember, judging feedback one time, or not, multiple times. They would always tell me my arms and my shoulders were too big. And it was what it was. I was playing, all these sports. I was doing all these things with my upper body. So I just mixed with the genetic component. My upper body just always has been more developed.
I understand. Yeah. No, I think it's a good move for you to stick with physique, and I think you'll do
Yeah.
really well.
Yeah. And my ability to shred, and that was also a huge factor. Like Justin just got me so shredded. It was like almost a disservice not to do women's physique with how
Yeah,
shredded he got me.
I know. I agree with you on that. Yeah. No, you did. You looked amazing. That's good.
Thank you.
Glad you're sticking with physique. Get to ditch them heels too. I can't
I'm
imagine
so excited. So excited.
it. Now, where do you hope to compete next to make your pro debut? I think you mentioned maybe you're not quite ready for that yet, but maybe take the
Oh
year.
yeah. So that'll be definitely like a year down the road, all of 2024 off. Judging feedback was kind of expected. I need to grow overall. Like my conditioning is great, but I need a lot more size. So obviously that's going to take time. I'd like to do a later 2025 show. Same thing, just give me a little bit of time.
Mhm.
Being from Chicago, I would love for my debut to be a Chicago pro. Just because then I could, pay homage to my city, and go home and see friends and family. But I'm definitely not opposed to pretty much I'm at Justin's beck and call. Whatever he thinks is a good option for me, is what I definitely want to do.
That's great. So yeah, I think taking the year off is a great idea.
Yeah,
So many competitors have done that and they came back better than ever, so
absolutely.
yeah.
And I'm so rigid with my plan. Unless it's like said in the plan, take a free meal. And even when it says a free meal, okay, like what parameters do you want me to follow?
Mhm.
Um, I'm really rigid. So I really want to use this opportunity this year to balance myself again and, go out to eat with friends. And instead of like, bringing my meals with me, because I won't even order like at the restaurant. I know a lot of bodybuilders will do, hey, bring me, a 4-ounce sirloin, no butter, no oil, salt and pepper. I don't even do that. I bring my food with me and I'll eat in like the parking lot or whatever. And then I'll just hang out with maybe like a cup of coffee and some water. So
Yeah.
I really want to get back to kind of balancing my life again, because for 4 or 5 years I've been so incredibly rigid.
Yeah. I understand that. Yeah. Do you still skate too? I was curious.
I go every now and then. It's for me, it's more of kind of like a little bit of a therapeutic outlet. I haven't been able to go as much just because of how busy I've been this past year,
Yeah.
with moving and things like that. But that's something as well I'm going to get back to as well. I love hitting balls off of a tee. For me, same thing. It's super therapeutic. So I want to get back into that and doing that a little bit more frequently too.
I was thinking it would be cool to do like a guest posing, but do figure skating and bodybuilding
And
combined.
bodybuilding, I don't know if Justin knows the extent of my figure skating abilities. Essentially, I landed one triple jump and then I quit. I landed a triple sow cow. I was a sophomore in high school. I said, okay, I'm done. I'm good. I can walk away from this now. So like I like just throw some sort of figure skating player, like just throw up like a double axle on the ground. But again, I don't think he knows the extent of my skating abilities. So it'll be fun to kind of surprise him too.
That's awesome. So in that sense, you could do like fitness, how they do the
So,
machines.
so
Yeah.
Missy Triscott lives out here in Seattle, and I did a posing session with her, and I kind of toyed with that. And I don't if you there's the photo shoot. I did it. I can walk on my hands. I can do a front handspring. My splits have gotten a little less impressive with gaining more muscle and not working on mobility as much as I should.
Mhm.
But I was totally joking with Justin about doing figure or doing fitness. And stuff, and he's like, let's calm down. We already just added women's physique. But I love like the fitness stuff. That would be great having Missy out here. It would be super cool to do. And I was toying with it earlier this year. But just the amount of dedication and time it takes for that routine, and now you're adding on also working on skills and going to the gymnasium, like the gymnastics gymnasium.
Yeah.
It's just a lot, and I have so much respect for fitness for putting that kind of grind in. That I don't have that kind of time, especially working 40 hours somewhere else. Getting the lifts in and cardio and food and hydration and all that is already a lot. But I think fitness is such a cool division. I'll go in the audience and watch fitness and just be awed.
Yeah, fitness is great, and Missy is
Yeah.
amazing. I felt
Oh,
bad
she's
for her for getting injured though at the Olympia. That was hard to watch.
Yeah, just wild. And I've said it across like even like the NFL and other sports with the prevalence of injuries that are happening now. it almost feels like an epidemic. But yeah, I feel she's such a good person. I wish her the best in her recovery, and she's that type of person. She's going to come back stronger, and I'm
Yeah,
really excited to see the comeback for her.
I agree. Yeah, she is. She's really amazing. And yeah, I totally, I think she'll come back stronger too.
Absolutely.
I was at the Olympia though, and I watched her get injured. I was like, oh, it was just hard to watch. It was so,
Yeah, it's super hard. And it's heartbreaking because, when good things happen to or bad things happen to good people, it's just really hard. And she's
yeah,
just got a heart gold. She's great. And, for something like that to happen to her, it was just really upsetting to see.
yeah, it was. Yeah. Um, I was curious when did you get a chance to talk to the nationals judges?
Yeah, so I actually got a chance to talk backstage with Sandy herself, and then I did get feedback via email, so in writing. Of course, one of the first few things they talked about was my hair. My girlfriend Morgan's a hairstylist, so she killed my hair. She did a great job. So it's kind of funny. I'm like, she's getting all these props. What about how I looked? So yeah, it was pretty much. I just need more size, more back density, more back width. And just overall to create a better taper. Conditioning they said was A+. They just want more size for me. So I'll take it and run with it. It means training is going to be super fun for a year.
I was curious if you don't mind me asking, how tall are you?
I measured 5'2" flat, which I'm usually like 5'1.5", but I guess in my aging, I've grown.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah. So now I can say 5'2". I have a little bit more.
I think that helps too with women's physique because I think the shorter ladies probably do a little bit better too.
Absolutely. Well, and when you're shorter too, and you don't have the limb lengths that the taller girls have, you essentially have to take your joints through a shorter range of motion to accrue that lean tissue you need. So
Hmm.
it absolutely is a benefit. It's why you see a lot of times these shorter girls are so dense because
Mhm.
we still have to work hard, of course. We just don't have to take our bodies through the ranges of motion that these taller girls do.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, so I think you'll do really well on the pro
Yeah, I'm
tour.
excited.
Yeah. Um, Now I was curious in terms of what would you say is the most challenging aspect of prep for you?
I think the most challenging aspect for prep for me was essentially, so I'm an occupational hand therapist. I work like outpatient orthopedic, very similar to like a physical therapist. So I treat shoulders, elbows, wrists, and hands. And, having to hold yourself at a standard while you're tired and depleted is really challenging. And then, putting your significant other through a prep. I mean, they are going through prep just as much as you are. So, you're tired, you're hungry, hey, I don't feel good. I'm going to go lay down and sleep. Like, you kind of absorb that energy. So I know I wasn't the most pleasant person to be around 24/7. And then obviously having Thanksgiving 2 weeks out from the show, I baked a lot for Morgan's family, which was great. But going and being around a bunch of people and it's already overstimulating, even if you weren't depleted, then you add on the depletion. That was just really the hard part. But I tried to be good about, hey, I don't feel good. I'm gonna go lay down, and stuff like that. And I was
Yeah.
really lucky with work. They were pretty understanding and stuff like that. And if I needed to go in the back and close my eyes during lunch, it was hey, just let Eleni sleep.
Yeah.
She'll be better when she wakes up.
I was curious with Thanksgiving, sometimes people don't understand why you can't eat with them, and that was Morgan's family sympathetic there or
Morgan's family is absolutely phenomenal. I'm
really?
super grateful that they're out here. They're pretty much, I mean, they all, give me a hard time. They're like, it's not, it's your family now too. Like it's not, you're not Morgan's sister, like I'm your sister and stuff like that. So they all have an athletic fitness background as well. So they totally get it. They're super supportive. If anything, they feel guilty for eating in front of me. And for me, I think the biggest thing is I want other people to be happy. So I'm happy, when someone else can eat something and they're enjoying it. And I just kind of try to focus on that. But no, her family has been absolutely amazing and super supportive.
That's great. I think it would be tough with the smells from Thanksgiving food.
Oh, the smells were awesome, but it was kind of cool because you could smell it and like you're eating your food, so it almost feels like you're eating what
Oh
you're
yeah,
smelling.
that's true.
So, so no, so it was good.
That's true. That's a good way of looking at it too. I like that.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
I was curious if you could give any advice to rising pros who are looking for a good coach. Like what makes Justin such a good coach?
Oh my gosh. again, just the standard of excellence. I mean, it's very apparent. Justin was also an ex-college athlete. And I think when you've gone through, X amount of years being a part of a collegiate team for a sport, you develop this certain standard about yourself and how you walk and how you talk and how you do anything. And I think that, if you're looking for someone that's compassionate towards, life situations, but also passionate about bodybuilding and wants you to be your best, he's definitely your guy. All the way down from the training to the nutrition to the, water manipulation and everything in between. He's just so knowledgeable, and you can tell, he's very confident in how he presents himself and how he presents his programming. And the biggest thing for me, a lot of competitors are reaching out to coaches. Justin and I were friends before him and I started working together. And he's like, when are you just going to let me coach you?
Hmm.
And for me, I wanted someone that wanted me. You reach out to these coaches, and sometimes we feel like you almost get put on the back burner a little bit, which is understandable when you have, 20 to 30 plus athletes that you're trying to coach.
Yeah.
And he has from day one never made me feel like I'm on the back burner.
That's terrific. That's good that you knew him before that too.
Yeah, develop some sort of friendship, and there was trust already established there. And again, the type of people Justin and I are, I mean, being ex-collegiate athletes, like the grind is just so much different.
Did he kind of understand where you were coming from with that kind of post-competition depression too?
No, so I wouldn't, and actually this post show, I haven't really been like post show depression, like more so like post athlete depression, stuff like that. So I didn't know Justin back then. But he could definitely relate. I think any college athlete, the one of the figure girls that played volleyball at TCU, I mean, she totally could relate to, what I was talking about with post athlete depression when we were at nationals, and her and I kind of bonded over that because there really is no outlet. There's no resources that we were given. Once our 4 years were done, colleges just kind of said, okay, thank you for everything you've done. See you later.
Hmm.
And at the end of the day, NCAA athletics it's a business. And I understand that. I was a part of, a business plan to put the college on the map with softball. Um, so it's nothing against them. It's just, it's never really been thought about, hey, like if you're struggling, here are some resources.
That's a good point. Yeah, definitely. That's a interesting to hear you say that though too, but that they don't really help you transition out from
No,
post athlete, and I can see where you could get the blues too. And I've talked to other folks, other women bodybuilders who feel the same way.
yeah. And again, I don't think it's anything against the colleges. My college head coach all the way down to my strength and conditioning coach were the greatest people in the entire world. And during my time at UIC, I had all the resources in the world for, physical, mental, emotional health. And I just don't think it was thought about like, okay, you guys are done, see you later.
Hmm.
Um, but I just don't, I think it's kind of overlooked, and I don't think that's malicious in any degree. I just think that it's just something that athletes don't talk about enough for it to be put out there.
That's a good point. Yeah. No, I can appreciate where you're coming from on that. Um, Now, you had mentioned you have a full-time job outside of bodybuilding and
Yeah.
so it's all occupational therapy?
Yep. So I specialize in outpatient orthopedics. So essentially like a hand therapist. I treat shoulder, elbow, wrist, and hand. Because of my fitness background, I do get a lot more shoulders. I love shoulders. I just think they're so fun to rehab because, especially with the prevalence of issues that shoulders have, and being able to heal people is just really rewarding.
Do you find it hard to juggle the full-time career with bodybuilding and just home life and stuff?
When I started, because I'm 4 years into being a therapist, I think initially when I started, it was a little challenging. But you're in a healthcare setting with people who are also usually to some degree fitness enthusiasts. So a lot of the times there was a lot of empathy and sympathy and understanding. Um, but I think now that I kind of have established myself as a therapist and I have a pretty good groove going, it's really not too hard.
That's cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. And you mentioned your girlfriend Morgan. Does she support your bodybuilding career? And is
Oh
she
my God. Yeah. Like she is just next level. The most support I've probably ever gotten from a relationship in bodybuilding. She comes to the gym with me. She's my training partner. She's my eyes, hey, Len, you know, you need to do this or you need to tuck this. You know, if you look back at my training videos a year ago to what they are now, with like bracing my core while I'm doing anything and like simple cues like that, you know, in that respect, she's just been so good and she's my favorite training partner. She would be a phenomenal bikini or wellness competitor, but she doesn't want to step on stage, which I totally get. It's a lot. So it's kind of nice having someone that is into the fitness and, again, corrective exercise and form and technique, but doesn't want to go through the prep, because I see, you know, my friends where their significant others also compete. And if both of them are in prep, it's like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know how you guys function together, because Morgan, just for the last 3 to 4 months, picked up the slack for me so much. And I'm so incredibly grateful.
Wow. Well, never say never. Maybe she'll compete eventually.
Maybe one day, but and then having pretty much hair and makeup on stat. I mean, it's been that was really nice too, and you know, we had plenty of time to practice. And I mean, even this like transition to women's physique, she's just as excited for me, and she's, you know, sending me stuff and going, hey, like, you know, this posing would look really good on you. Like, you could do this. Like, you kind of look like her. You should see her. And we also have this mutual level of respect for each other. So, you know, feedback and stuff. You see sometimes, you know, people in the gym that are working out that are couples, and, you know, they kind of roll their eyes at each other, whatever. And there's nothing. I just have so much respect for her, and everything and anything she says, I totally am all bought in. And I usually agree. Like, if I look back at film at what she was saying, I'm like, yeah, you were right.
That's terrific. That's great. Yeah, I would think that I think you're right about a couple prepping together, because I think it would be really tough, because it's
Yeah,
and you're
it would.
both depleted and maybe a little cranky, and you'd be like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, hey, I just don't feel like doing laundry, or like, hey, I don't feel like doing stuff around the house. And it was like, yeah, I got you, no problem. Hey, you know, can you cook chicken for me? Can you put this in the oven? So yeah, so she was just really behind the scenes, and even, you know, like the mental part of prepping, you know, oh, I don't look good enough, oh, I'm not ready. And again, having someone that you trust that's going to tell you straight up if, hey, you shouldn't do this, or yeah, you look great. It was just really good to keep my mental conditioning sharp. You know, hey, you're ready, you're going to do this, you're going to look great.
That's terrific. No, I think that's great. I was curious, are your parents supportive too of your bodybuilding career?
Yeah, my parents are super supportive. They think that it's super great because, again, it's another athletic outlet. Obviously they're out in Illinois, so so a lot of virtual stuff, but and that's kind of why I'd love to do the Chicago Pro, because I'd love to have family there. But yeah, they're super supportive.
Yeah, it makes sense it makes a huge difference, I think,
Yeah.
having a cheering section like that, and having your
Oh
family
yeah.
there and friends.
Yeah, it's really nice. I don't really have anyone that kind of knocks it or is against it or is resistive in my life. I don't know if that's by choice or just my cards. That's how my cards fell, and I got lucky. But yeah, everyone I'm surrounded is super infatuated and impressed with the bodybuilding stuff, which is cool.
That's terrific. That's so cool. Um, I just have time for just one or two more questions.
Okay.
Now you live in Seattle now, but do you find that you have a supportive bodybuilding community there?
I think that it's really growing. I think it was kind of small and mighty, especially like at the start of the year when I first got here. There's one gym out here called House of Pumps in Kirkland. They're ran by two IFBB pros, and they're super supportive in the bodybuilding community. And then prepping now, because I had to qualify for nationals, and prepping for the show that I did out here locally, I was able to find a few more gyms like Body Shop Fitness, which is out in Bothell, which is a little bit further out from me. But there's a lot of competitors there, so it's not as big as NPC Illinois, like, or that Chicagoland area was, but it's definitely out here, and I'm starting to find and make those connections with people.
I mentioned to you one of my favorites, and I saw her compete in nationals in 2021, but she won the physique overall, was
Yeah,
Julia Monroe, and she's just
yeah,
amazing, and got her
she's
first Olympia too. She got the
she's absolutely phenomenal. She's someone I also kind of look up to very, again, this is kind of really new to me, but she also, I think Justin told me she works as an attorney of some sort. So she also has a professional career. And she's killing the bodybuilding game with women's physique. I also appreciate she brings a very feminine quality to the division, which to me was very important. I wanted to stay feminine in that respect. So I saw Julie. I'm like, yeah, this is someone I want to be surrounded by. And she just, just from what she puts on Instagram, she has a very positive energy and light to her. So I'm hoping eventually her and I get together and we'll probably get a lift in, because she's really like an hour away from me, I think. So
Yeah, she's not that far. Yeah.
yeah, so it'd be super cool to connect with her.
We're almost out of time. Would you mind doing a quick flex for me? Let me mute myself and
Absolutely.
that's awesome. You look so good. Thank you for showing.
We're keeping it tight. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'll get this posted soon.
Cool. Have a good one.
Thanks, Eleni.
Yeah, no problem.